Heart to Hearties. I'm Lori from Mobile, Alabama.
And I'm Marg from San Diego.
And we are delighted to welcome two guests today. Hearty Joy Hitt Bradley. So glad to have you. We loved getting to know you at HFR, and we're so happy to have you today. Tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Vancouver, but the other Vancouver, Washington, which is just across the Columbia River from Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay. So you're in South Washington.
Yeah, Southwest Washington.
Cool.
That's a beautiful part of the country. My goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
You.
And we are so excited to welcome the actress who brings an MD to Hope Valley and who made our hearts grow 3 times larger last season as she became the foster mom, Auntie Faith, to the most adorable Lily. Welcome, Andrea Brooks.
Yay, hello. Yay. Thank you so much for having me, you guys.
Andrea, you were the very first person to ever respond to the Heart to Hearties.
Right.
You know that. You were the first person to be interviewed. So for the novices that we were then and we are now. Thank you.
Yes.
An honor.
Well, thank you so much. We have a lot to chat about with you today, Andrea, but the pressing reason we wanted to talk to you was because the Real Thanks campaign launched this week. Tell us about this wonderful cause that you've been involved with for so many years.
Sure. So this is the 11th year that the Real Thanks Challenge has taken place. And essentially it is a massive effort on the part of all of the productions that shoot in Vancouver, British Columbia. It happens every year around Thanksgiving. And we all try to fundraise as much as we can for the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. And we have collectively, as a film community, raised almost $2 million over these 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge campaign for the food bank. I'm wearing one of their swag sweatshirts right now. It's a cause I champion to the nth degree. I think there's nothing more important than making sure that our basic needs as human beings are met. And obviously in these turbulent economic times, it's just more dire than ever. And I've done numerous tours with the food bank. I've been in touch with so many people over there. I have a friend, Jamie, who now works for the PR team for the food bank, who used to do costumes on Supergirl with me. So I have so many connections with this cause. I love them dearly, and they're just so thankful for all the efforts. They're so thankful for the Hearties because, as you all know, the Hearties have been instrumental in getting our numbers up every year. And essentially, what I should get back to is the Real Thanks Challenge is a competition. So all of the shows are competing against each other, and it gets very competitive because we all have friends on other shows, and we have crew and cast that have worked on each other's shows, and everyone wants to one-up each other. And there's a lot of strategy and effort involved in essentially every single day of the competition. There's a bonus that you can win, a bonus donation amount that gets attributed to your team if you win that challenge that day. So we won in 2021. We have a trophy in our One Calls the Heart office. We have a 4th place as well. We've placed in the past, but we love our 1st place trophy, and we're always aiming to get back to that. So it's a fun competition. It involves cast, crews, obviously fans of shows as well. And it's just a fun way to donate and feel good and support an amazing cause.
Oh, awesome. That is, we're rooting for that number 1. We're shooting.
I know, Hearties like to win.
Do this.
Yeah, we like to win. Yeah.
We recognize quite a few Hearty names on the donation.
Oh, so do I. And it just warms my heart every time I go through the list. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yay.
Yeah, it's cool.
So wonderful. And this year, I think there's different strategies. We've gone hard. We've done pushes at the beginning in the past. We obviously put media competition side because the Hearties are amazing with social media, as we all know.
Yes.
And that's the reason we placed first in 2021. That's the tipping point that put us over the edge. Was we had the most retweets. Thank you, Jeanette Stevens, for always being on top of everything on Twitter, or X, I guess we should say.
Yes. Yeah. And thank you for doing a shout out to Jeanette, because she does. It was just amazing. I got home from HFR and I was like, oh, I'm so ready to take a breath. And I was like, bing, 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 bing. Jeanette's already like, it's like she never
No.
took a breath. She's just
And
kept
she's
it
so
up.
wonderful. She's so wonderful to us cast because
Yeah,
she has all our photos, all our promo, all our press. She reminds us
there.
when things are coming out. Like she's just
Yeah.
such a tried and true Hardy, and we all
And
adore
she
her.
is in every regard, and she really
Absolutely.
wanted to be here today. She couldn't make the time work, so thank you for giving her
Oh,
such a sweet
always,
shout out. Yeah, no,
always,
it's
always.
and we're going to talk more about the strategy in a little while, but
Great.
don't be dismayed if you don't see some of your favorite actors' names, because there is kind of a strategy involved in when you give. Not that for Hearties we can give any time. That would be any time, any amount is appreciated. So
Yes.
So as Mark said, we're going to talk about real thanks later on,
Yeah.
but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Joy, you recently traveled to Vancouver, Canada, and got to witness the actors in all their glory on stage. Tell us what struck you about seeing Andrea at HFR.
Well, Andrea, I remember watching you in one of the early movies on Hallmark, and you were just a young thing, and now it's just so fun, and for a fan to see you grow into all of these leading roles now, it's amazing.
Thank
But
you.
it was so fun to get to hear you talk and see you as an expectant mother, and knowing that you are a young mother with two others at home. And now you're playing a mother figure as
Yes.
the character with little Lily. But of course, the interaction that's between you and Lily is so much fun to watch. Tell us a little bit about what that's like for you.
Sure. I think the Lily storyline was a long time coming. It's something that had been proposed to me in the past, and I knew that it had been kind of popped around as an idea here and there over the years, that what if a baby was left on Faith's doorstep of the infirmary? You know, what if? So that it was an idea that was kicking around in the back of my mind, and I was thinking, okay, one day. And I do think it was the perfect season for that, because Faith has had a bit of breathing room from her turbulent love life by the time she and Lily meet. And I think it's just a point in her life where she's wondering what's next. I've put in such colossal efforts to become a doctor and to be a good citizen, and I'm watching my friends thrive, and what's next? And then boom, here's Lily. So I think it was wonderful timing. It also, of course, coincided with my own crazy life, where I'm about to have my third baby in real life, and I also have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. So madness at my house.
It is madness. It is
madness. But I'm so glad that this storyline happened after I became a mother, because I think there's an understanding that I have now that I don't think I would have. I mean, I would have played it and I think it would have been awesome, but I have a deep understanding of what it means to be a parent and a parent figure now. And I was able to kind of apply a lot of that into the performance. And to this day, I think the Lily storyline is one of my absolute favorites that I've ever had the chance to play on When Calls the Heart. And that's saying a lot, because we've been on, we're working on season 11. We've been around for a while.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Two things. One is Joy came down with laryngitis a couple days ago. She says she's not in pain, so we're glad. We're thrilled.
I just my husky voice.
I think you sound very sexy. It's very Kathleen Turner. Yes, it's very Kathleen Turner. But secondly, I just watched the Lori, your live video that you did of the panel. I just rewatched it this morning, and I think in there you say that it's such a seismic shift when you become a mother.
Yes.
And I thought that was the perfect term. Like, if you hadn't experienced that yourself, I mean, of course you're a great actress. You would have done your homework and you would have shown us that seismic shift, but it must be cool to reflect it now being a mom.
Oh, absolutely. And Chloe, who plays little Lily, is close in age to my own daughter. who will be turning 5 this November. She's a little bit just slightly older. And so it is neat to hang out with her at work because she's just slightly ahead. So she knows what toys people are liking and what's going on at school. And it's just really fun to get to connect with another kid. You know, another little girl. And she reminds me a lot of my own daughter in so many ways. So it is a really honest dynamic. And yes, seismic shift, absolutely. I am still shocked at how much work parenthood is. Every day I wake up and I'm just like, wow, how do women do this? I can't equate it to anything. There's no other way I can't even put words to what it means to be a parent because it is such a massive part of your life. So I'm so glad that Faith has that now. I'm so glad that she has that weight to her life, that purpose that she was kind of searching for. So yeah, I think just seismic is the word. That is what it is.
We got to meet Chloe on Friday night at HFR, and that was so fun. What an adorable, smart, clever little girl. And she spoke about how much she loves working with you as well. But we also loved listening to you and the rest of the cast interact with one another and head around a little bit. And that made the day really fun with some of our ongoing jokes throughout the
And you know what's funny is we all got on stage and we didn't know that the Pal the Pony was going to happen. So I think from
a surprise,
we got to the stage and we were like, what's happening? So we were all kind of really loose, and it was actually probably one of my favorite panels I've ever done at an HFR because it just kind of felt like a day on set where we're all gabbing and everyone's chatting over one another and poking fun and jokes. And yeah, like that's very much the spirit of what it's like in the mornings when we're sitting in hair and makeup. That's the dynamic for sure. So it was kind of fun to see that play out in its honest form on stage at this HFR.
Well, it was honest and searing and hilarious and every word you could.
Good.
It's so fun for Hearties to pull back the curtain and see a little bit of that.
Yes, and the banter between everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It was so fun, so fun. I have to tell you that just seeing you play a foster mom really speaks to my heart because I have an adopted son. He's 21 now, but we adopted him from China. He's deaf and also autistic, and brought him home when he was about 4 from China.
Wow.
And no language, no communication or anything. And before he came home, we sponsored him in foster care in China so he could get out of the orphanage and into some loving arms. So it really means a lot to me to see that part of Wrinkles the Heart, because it kind of mirrors some of the experiences I've personally had. There is a question from a Heartie, Carrie Campo of Columbus, Ohio. And she wonders what your first reaction was when you learned you were going to be Lily's foster parent.
Oh, as soon it's funny. I read that script fairly early. I believe it was before I even had, often at the beginning of each season, we sit down with our showrunners, we sit down with the writers, we have conversations of, the general direction. Obviously things change, so they're cautious to not spoil too much for us because as the season goes on, things shift. But I think I went into reading that first script with Lily cold. I don't think that I had a meeting prior because I remember just reading it, and as soon as she showed up and as soon as I found out the grandma was sick, I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is it. I think this is the storyline that we've been talking about. Like, I think this is it. So I just remember scanning through that one and just recognizing immediately that this was an integral character and this was very important. And then I was just so excited because I was like, oh, I hope she stays. I hope this works out, because you never know, you never know with scheduling, you never know. Sometimes they try things and things don't work. And so nothing is set in stone ever. And we all know that. We all realize that.
Yes, indeed.
Through that. As fans, as actors, we all know how television works. But I just remember thinking, this is perfect. That was how I went into that season. Just like, perfect. This is perfect for Faith. This is what I want to do. I hope this sticks.
Amazing.
Yeah, we do too. It'd be fun to see you grow up and together and learn together. I loved the scene about trying to get her to eat.
Yes.
Because every parent relates to that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We had to do a few scenes where she had to eat, and we have to eat prop food, and prop food is not good. It can't be warm because you can't have steam coming up and ruining the shot. And so we're often eating, like we're all acting like we're eating ice cream and it's mashed potatoes. It's like, this is a true thing in film. And there were a few times where she had to eat some not fantastic food, and she was so professional and so good about it, but she was just, I remember her playing with her food and she had to say yum, and I think it was cold beans. It was something terrible. Oh. And she was struggling, but she just held it together. So fantastic as always. But I remember just thinking, oh, this is so unfair. She shouldn't have to say yum eating prop food.
You touched on this a little bit, but Amanda Green of Lexington, Alabama, is just, so impressed, as we all are, with these child actors. I mean, truly, they're phenomenally professional. So, but what's the key, as to bonding with these very young children on set? Like, how did you develop that relationship?
That is a really good question. And one thing I think our show does very well is we, as a show, really ensure that the kids are taken care of, because we've all heard horror stories about kids in the industry. It is a working environment. It is an adult working world, and it's not for every kid. Even if there might be a child who's a fantastic actor, but it might not be a good fit because the hours are long, it's demanding, you're outside, you're inside, you're working in the rain. It can be tough, but I feel that our show takes a lot of pride in making sure that the casting is dialed in. And if a kid is not enjoying themselves, or if it's not going well, I feel like there's been a lot of efforts to ensure that the safety and the needs of the kid are taken care of. And maybe it's just not the perfect world for certain kids. I will say working with Chloe has been fantastic, because she's like a 30-year-old in a first grader's body. She's so mature. She's so good at her job, and she just belongs there, and she wants to be there. And I think that's the key. You want to make sure you're working with kids who love it, who want to act, who want to be a part of the show. And the second you meet a kid who's like, I don't want to be here, they shouldn't be there. So I think our show has done a really good job at making sure that all the kids who have stayed on, who are still a part of the show, who have grown up on the show, have loved it. And that's really key. And I think so many of us, in terms of cast and crew, are parents. So we always have that kind of parental eye out to make sure that everything's okay. And I'm really proud of our show for that, because we do have a lot of kids, and I do, we follow all the laws, all the regulations, all the union rules. We're very strict about that. When they get their breaks, they get their breaks. And yeah, as a result, I feel that it's a lot of healthy, smart, talented kids who really want to work and want to be there.
How, I know you can't give us a lot in terms of season 12, but Caroline Richardson had to go there anyway. She's from Dalzell, South Carolina, and she wonders if there's any little story you could share about how your bond with Chloe has increased in season 12.
Oh, well, she's a year older, and a year is a big change when you're a little kid.
Right.
I've actually seen her thrive. She is one of the most booked children in North America right now. She is working nonstop. She books constantly because she's fantastic. And She just did
Wow.
a movie with Owen Wilson. And it was so fun because when we came back this season, we had some fun scenes together. And I was just like, Chloe, like, you're so good. She was great last year, but she's older and she's learned a lot more, hitting her mark, finding her light, knowing how to maneuver around the cameras. And we don't have a lot of time. And I was just like, you've not, I don't want to say improved because she's always been amazing, but she's just with it. She's so smart. She knows what's happening. She listens. She takes direction so well. And I was just like, it's so obvious that you've been working so much and just thriving. And
Wow.
yeah, it's fun to see like how much a kid can grow within the span of a year.
Yeah, seriously, that's amazing. Well, you have these kids are smarties. I mean, they really are. Listening to Highland, listening to Chloe. I mean, they're all very smart kids. Billy, Toby, it's just like they're quite on the ball, and undoubtedly the things that they're exposed to contribute to that. But they're kind of exceptional human beings, all of them. I really enjoy them very, very much. So it's cool that you get so much time. I think back to Chris McNally talking about Highland tooting on him.
Yes,
And,
I was there that day. Yes.
Yeah. Are there any little moments you could share, of,
Sure.
of
I think Highland for a time, I can't remember if that was the end of last season or the beginning of this season. He's really into how fast he can run. So he'll come up, and in Canada, we work off the metric system. So everything's in kilometers per hour. So he'll tell you like, I can run 35 kilometers an hour. Actually, it's 40 kilometers an hour. I don't know how he's measuring this, but he'll tell you how fast he is.
Excellent.
And he's cute. He and Chloe are best little buddies. And yeah, like I think back to the Easter episode last season. That was a fun one because the kids
was very sweet.
There actually were eggs around and people were actually searching. So that was a really fun day. But anytime you can kind of involve the kids in a community scene and see them happy and thriving is great. It's wholesome, it's fun. And what you see on the screen in that sense is often happening because, the kids are kids. They're going to run around. They're like, well, I want to find Easter eggs. Let's go. So it was like, we've had a lot of fun community events and yeah, seeing Chloe and Highland together is always really fun.
Amazing.
They are adorable.
They get to play make-believe, she loved getting dressed up in make-believe clothes for dinner, and it's like they get to do make-believe all the time. How fun, and get noticed for it. How fun would that be?
Yep.
Oh, we're talking about the clothes.
Came down those stairs last year it was come on.
I believe that was when she came down in the Faith outfit. I believe that was her first day of shooting. And I remember she came down the stairs just watching her and being like, this is perfect. Like, they're gonna love you.
Probably
yes, we do.
done it in real life.
Because I'm ready for dinner. And it was just like, sold. You found the perfect kid. And I did share this at Hearties Family Reunion, but one of my last email exchanges that I had with Neil Fernley, our beloved director who passed away from ALS this past year. One of my last emails was just thank you so much for finding Chloe and for fighting for her, because there were discussions about going younger, or lots of discussions happen when casting takes place. And he was like, no, we found her and I fought for her and I knew she could handle the dialogue, and that was the choice. And I just said thank you so much. That makes my life so much easier. I love the dynamic because, my fear is that maybe someone would be cast who was great, but maybe didn't want to be there, or maybe didn't want to be a part of the show. And my fear would be working with a kid who says, like, I want to go home. Because at that point, it's not fair to keep them on set. And she was the opposite. She came in, she was dialed, she knew what she wanted to do, cute as a button. And yeah, the Lily Faith storyline just hit the ground running. And I'm so thankful.
What a cool, sweet legacy. I mean, Neil's fingerprints are all over this show, but I'll remember that as we see the story unfold this season, that Neil, was her champion. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, he really
Thank you, Neil, for bringing us Lily. We love her.
Yes.
Love her. Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We were talking about the space costumes. You've posted some great videos and slideshows showing how Barbara Gregusova has disguised your baby bump over the season.
Yes, we're experts at this now.
Yes, indeed.
In fact, you were wanting to bring Pal the pony to kind of hide your baby bump.
I actually think that was perfect. I was like, it's like a chunky big horse.
What?
I could awkwardly hold it and cover a lot. It was the
Could
first
be
thing
at
I
the
thought.
daycare. Yeah.
So cute. Well, Carolyn Galgano of Sutton, Massachusetts asked, what has been the most creative way the directors and crew have hidden your baby bump so far this season? Hearties are digging.
Oh, this season.
Ooh.
There are some fun. This baby's measuring quite big.
Oh.
So the bump is getting bigger here as we speak.
You're bringing new challenges to When Calls the Heart.
New bumpy challenges. So last season, I remember thinking after going through my first pregnancy when I worked on Supergirl and When Calls, that I had tried every trick in the book. I've had stunt doubles, body doubles, photo doubles. We've done photos and then edited things down later. I thought that I had tried everything. I walked out in front of bouquets, and I remember on Supergirl they had this massive like canister of fruit, and I was supposed to be walking into someone's apartment, and there were probably like 50 oranges and 40 bananas in it, and it got to the point where the director of that episode was like, "Hey, this is comical. Like, this is just a distraction. Everyone's gonna know she's pregnant now," because it was just so ridiculous. So I feel like I had been through the gamut. And then I was really proud in my second pregnancy on When Calls. There were a few moments I particularly loved whenever I was in the barbershop or the beauty salon, I guess goes both ways. We would put the big cape on. So I could do full scenes. I remember reading a newspaper and being like, this is great. I remember thinking we were so brilliant. I think it was one of Neil's episodes where I had to pop in and deliver a quick message to, I don't know if it was Fiona or somebody. And I popped in and I just popped my head in in the frame of the door. I remember thinking, like, this covers everything. This is so smart. And then I remember Googling, because I do love Googling how other shows deal with pregnancy and baby bumps that they have to hide. And then that is very much an old trick. Like, that is nothing spectacular. In my mind, I'm like, we invented something great. I could just be the person who delivers information all season. This is great. And then it was like, no, a lot of women stand behind doorways. That's a thing. So I thought we invented something.
All your costumes?
Yeah, so this season, the costumes have changed with each pregnancy. We've kind of done things a little differently. The first season, we had a lot of capes, and there were actually a lot of times where I would just wear pants and we would just kind of shoot from the cape up. Mm-hmm. And then that got to the point where I really needed the skirt, because if you shoot dead onto camera, you don't see the bump until you turn. So we kind of figured out, okay, we need to adjust. And then the next season, we went through my whole wardrobe. We adjusted all the waistbands, and then we started using the double quite frequently. So like a lot of scenes where, let's say there was a saloon scene and the whole town's together, and maybe I'm dancing with someone, I would just swap out my body. Like I would just do a shift. I had to have my body double, generally Christy, who I posted about on Instagram. She'd kind of come in, she'd pretend to be Faith from the back. And then that was that. I'd get to sit down and, have a drink and chill and watch Faith, watch the other Faith take on the role for a minute. And then this season's just been a smattering of everything, because we've tried all the tactics. We generally shoot a little closer. The infirmary is super forgiving. There's so much in that doctor's office that for anyone who's been to HFR or who has toured the infirmary, we've built up that kind of privacy wall when you come in one of the doorways. And that was built during my first pregnancy, because I was we could use that to either place items upon, so that if I were shooting on the other side, there could be like a card or something kind of covering. Also, I could deliver information from behind it. I've also used my desk, and we have a lot of our little wheelie tables that I use for medication and bandages and whatnot. They're quite high, and that's also deliberate, because, the higher they go, the more it can cover up this way. And then, of course, there's the doctor bag. That one just ends up right around here.
And the biggest doctor bag ever.
Yeah, the biggest doctor bag ever. So all those tricks are being employed again. but there have been a few scenes that I think the funniest one during my second pregnancy was we were rushing and rushing one day, and there was a scene where we were all decorating the saloon, and I was standing in the middle, and then we blocked the scene, and then I had to rush and change and come back, and I was like, well, what am I holding? And the director was like, oh, I forgot. I don't know. We got to roll. We got to go. We got to go. So I just remember looking around, and I found the world's biggest curtain. And I remember just folding a curtain like this, hiding I was probably 8 months pregnant at this point, just folding it and just saying my lines while folding a giant curtain. And we did that. And there was another time in my second pregnancy where I again was holding a newspaper. There was a lot of newspapers in my second pregnancy.
A lot of newspapers. Yes, you're very newsy.
There was another saloon scene, and I was standing next to Aaron. And again, I was at the front, and it was like, oh, the bump. Oh no, what do we do? And then Aaron just looked around, saw a Valley Voice, and just handed it to me, and I just held it here. So for no reason, there's some still shots of me with the group, and I'm just holding a newspaper, smiling. It doesn't really make sense, but we were in a panic that day. So it's
my goodness.
It's a communal effort because it's such a joke at this point. It's like Andrea's always pregnant. She always needs something.
Yeah, they had to build a wall for you. Wow.
Build a wall, exactly.
I need to have a whole basket of Andrea props. So you can go in there and choose. What would you like today?
Exactly. And oh my goodness, I'm on the props cart constantly, just looking around like, I think we want this. Do we have, and my question is always, do we have a bigger one? Like, okay, you're going to hold packages. Well, do we have bigger packages?
Right.
Great.
You need Elizabeth's wedding dress box. You need that. Yes. That unwieldy box. Yes.
I can spoiler this one. I've never held the wedding box, but it's a great idea.
Okay. Didn't hold it.
I've not ever held it, but that is brilliant. I should bring that one out from the attic.
Totally. Yeah. That was a moment.
Yeah, I could go on and on about, I was joking with Barbara. I was like, we should just do a podcast.
No, you really should. We should just devote an entire session to talking about it. It's hilarious.
There's so much to say. I could go on.
You could write a manual for other shows on how to hide the baby bump.
It's tutorial.
I do like being very vocal about this and very open. And because I think traditionally when you're a female actor in this industry, you're so fearful of starting a family because you're worried you might get fired, or they might stop writing for your character, or just everything goes through your head. And I feel so supported and looked after on When Calls the Heart. Our producers are so amazing. The network is so amazing. I've always felt safe and secure.
Great.
In my job. So I do feel it's important when you're going through this to just kind of be vocal about it and be like, it's one of those things. It's short term. It doesn't last forever. It's an issue that requires a bit of creative problem solving, but that's what our industry is. That's what we do. We're creative people
every day. Yeah.
All day. And if you embrace it, there's actually something kind of fun about it. So
yeah. Well, that's wonderful if they're so supportive. I love that.
That's why we love our show.
Yes, exactly. Well, Hardy Joanne Matlaz-Drozdowski of Barnegat, New Jersey says, what do you think about asking the new governor for funds to expand the infirmary and update the equipment?
I like that. I think ever since the Xray season, where Faith was advocating for the Xray, this has been on my mind. Obviously, as the seasons go on here, we're well into the 20s and the town has expanded. It's thriving. There's new people. There's a hustle and bustle about Hope Valley that didn't really exist in the early days. And as a result, the infirmary is busier than ever. So I have thought about that and how we are in certain ways becoming a bit of a hospital. And like in my mind, what an amazing transition that would be one day to actually have a Hope Valley hospital and not always have to be rushing out to Benson Hill.
Right.
Wow.
The long term, if the show goes another 10 years, that is my
Which it will.
We got it.
Knocking on my wood table. I don't see why it can't, but yeah, asking for help. I will tell you a little bit of a story about the Xray machine. I did kind of, I have been advocating for that with each passing season. I'm like, she needs the Xray machine. And there was some deep diving going on in the writer's room, and the early Xray machines weren't really the safest. So they were cognizant of that. They were like, if we bring that in, we don't want to have to bring up everything that came along with the early Xray machines.
Right.
Because yeah, there would be some
There were some issues.
There were some issues. So I have a feeling that if the show continues, at one point we'll get the Xray machine, but we might bypass the like, oh, let's scan my foot, and because they were using like copious amounts of radiation, and it wasn't fantastic, and it's not something that they wanted to deal with. So we've kind of put a pin in that, and we're still outsourcing for the X-rays, and then we just kind of leave it at that. But I do still want that machine. Also, I don't really know where we would put it.
Well, that is a question. Yeah.
That is another question.
Would it be one more thing you could hide behind?
It's true. It's so true.
In case you're going for baby number 4, right? Yeah.
There you go. Okay, I'll remember to propose that.
Right.
Well, you just answered, you're clairvoyant. You just answered Marissa Myrick Paddock from Micanopy, Florida's question about the Xray machine. So there you go, Marissa.
Yes, the Xray, I just want Hearties to know it's not lost on me. I'm still very aware that we need an Xray machine in Hope Valley. I just need to figure out how we're going to work this in one day, and what writers, I've got to sweeten the deal here. I've got to buy, some wine for one of the writers and be like, come on, just put it in there. Once it's in, it's in.
Well, tell them Hearties are asking for it.
Right.
I know.
We have evidence. Hearties are asking.
I think it's a play into the mystery that we're beginning to, this mystery element. I can see it. I see the vision for the Xray.
There's room for this Xray machine. Absolutely.
I completely
We don't have to get into the details of what's required and what was going on with we just need one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Well, Karen Schlutt-Munson of Kansas City asks this question. What has been your favorite activity invention brought to the series over the years? Is it a camera, the phone, ice cream parlor, car, beauty salon?
We have seen so many inventions, and thanks to Ned, who's always every season he's got something.
The Band-Aid.
Band-Aid. Every time I put a Band-Aid on, I think of Ned.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've had so many, but I think thinking back, the phone was a pretty big one. That one really connected Hope Valley. And I just remember years ago having a lot of phone conversations. Faith had a bunch of phone calls with her father, and then she was back on the phone with Arson, and the phone was big. And still is. We use it all the time. Faith now has a phone in the doctor's office. But obviously back in the day we had the switchboard and the one phone, and then the governor got the phone, and now I feel like we're all connected. But I think the phone was a pretty cool one for our show.
Yeah.
Pretty important for a doctor, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and when you have your own, you have a little more privacy than the one in the mercantile.
Yes, because we always know there were some looky-loos. There are some people back there who are listening in.
Yeah, our HIPAA compliance on this show is probably very, very poor.
It is a little poor. We've actually
with Ned and overhearing everything. Yeah.
There's another Heartie from Kansas City, Kimberly Snipes. She was among the Hearties who felt there was a spark between Tom and Faith last season.
Ooh.
I saw it.
Did you feel that? Did you think that was true?
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't said this on a podcast yet. Yeah, I did see. It's funny because I read, first of all, I know Max Lloyd Jones. I've known him. I think we first worked together when we were like 19 or 18. We kind of came up auditioning around the same time.
Oh, do tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we go way back.
That's so cool.
And by the time when I was cast on When Calls the Heart in season 2, all those years ago, I was so happy that he was there because I knew him, and we had played boyfriend and girlfriend we both guest starred on an episode of iZombie way back in the day before. So we knew each other, and I was so happy to hear that he was coming back, because I think those those legacy characters on our show are so impactful and meaningful, and it means so much to the audience. And there's such payoff when maybe you don't see someone for 5 or 6 years and they come back and they tell you their story and they talk about their journeys they've been on. I personally love that. So when I first read that he was back and I read those episodes, I didn't read a spark really. I mean, I knew that there was a moment where he's like, let's go get something to eat. And there were moments, but those didn't really, I'd say no spark really existed till we were rehearsing the scenes and we were just together and we're good buddies. And I feel like the connection was made and it was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like I didn't necessarily foresee this, but they're both two single people. They go way back. We also go way back as actors, which is kind of a fun parallel. And yeah, I think I also think it was just a fun little storyline to reflect the 20s, that a woman could come in and be like, let's dance. It's not all up to the men. So even just for those 2 episodes, I just thought that was a really fun thing. And I think it was, it demonstrated Faith kind of just letting loose a little bit. There's so much seriousness in her life so often. And it was just kind of a fun kind of 20s moment for Faith. And I would love to see him come back. I hope he does.
We hope so too.
We love it when former characters, and not necessarily old, come back, because you wonder, where did they go? What happened to them?
Absolutely. The Hope Valley black hole.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. People.
Yes.
Yeah, he was, I don't know, there was something about it. He was just particularly appealing in his episodes. I'd forgotten how much I really loved him. And it was just cool. There was just really a neat feeling, energy to it. Yeah.
It comes in with like a swagger, like a big city swagger that just feels right for the time that we're in right now.
It did. And I think also the fact that you're such a modern woman in the 20s, just everything about it just worked. And the fact that you were really focused on Lily, because that's the way life is when your attention turns to some other meaning or purpose in your life, that's when a little romantic thing can crop up. And that's what it felt like to me. Yeah.
And I like that it wasn't super serious. I like that it was
right
in the moment. And yeah, I love that for everybody. It was just, it was something kind of unexpected. And once we got the scenes up on their feet, we were like, oh, this is funny. This is cute. They're like, flipping. Aw, nice.
Really cute.
It was, yeah.
So we know you can't say a lot about season 12, but Stella, and excuse me, Stella, for your name, Rougemont of Quebec, Canada. I know that's French and I'm not good at that. Is curious if Faith gets parenting advice from anyone this season, perhaps from Elizabeth or even Nathan or who?
The long and the short of it, yes, she does. And we kick off with some parenting advice kind of in the early episodes of season 12. So you won't be disappointed. There's a shift is taking place for Lily, and they're kind of stumbling their way through it. And there's the first couple episodes, there's some really awesome moments that involve parenthood and growing up. And I'm really excited for everybody to see those scenes. So yes.
I thought it was cool. There was a scene where Nathan gave you the advice on how to get her to eat. And I thought, well, look at him feeling confident as a parent, because he's always kind of going to Elizabeth for some.
I love that. I love seeing the characters on our show mature and learn lessons. And I love a long storyline. I love, we all saw him in the early days with Allie and everything they've been through. And it's so nice to see a character kind of summarize that journey in a later season, because we can all reflect back and we all know what they've been through. We saw it with our own eyes. So there's so much payoff for that. And I'm so glad that scene existed. I thought that was really cool and also very specific, because they were two people who didn't intend to be parents but became parents. And I think that's a really special, specific journey, and that's a cool connection for them.
Yeah, I love Joseph and Minnie, with resolving the whole nightlight issue, the fact that she couldn't see the stars from her window. I mean, that's you know, that's what Hope Valley is it takes a village and everybody helps. And she is going through a seismic shift. And so to know that she can look to other people for some help is really cool, even from unlikely places. Like, you know, you wouldn't necessarily think of Nathan, but that's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that nightlight scene, that took a long time to film because we wanted to make sure the stars were in the most beautiful position when we were kind of looking up at the nightlight. And I think it turned out really, really beautifully.
Yeah.
It did. I bawled.
Oh, good.
I'm
I'm sorry you both, but also thank you.
Oh, I think yes, I think you pushed a lot of Kleenex sales last season, so it was
Elizabeth's
very
voiceover
moving.
and then that whole beautiful scene.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So let's go back and talk about Real Thanks. And, you know, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and our hearts are really, you know, open in this season of giving. You know, we want to take care of our neighbors in North Carolina and the South that's been going through the hurricane.
My heart goes out to all. I've seen so many videos and oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to acknowledge that at the same time. But of course, hunger is an ongoing problem. And so tell us just a little bit more about Real Thanks, like some of the strategy. I know that it stretches from October 1st, so we've already begun, and the 11th is the last day. So talk to us about the 11th and maybe the push there.
Sure. So we have for 2 weeks during the weekdays, we have our competition dates for the Real Thanks Challenge. And we as a group, as a cast, as a crew, have kind of picked a couple dates that we're planning to kind of group donate. So you'll probably see if there'll be a few days if you're following the charts of Real Thanks where you'll see a big bump in donations. And that's strategic because all shows do this. Wild Cards, one of my best friends is actually the lead on Wild Cards. Her show is currently in the lead. I'm not happy about this.
No.
Not happy. They've won 2 challenges in a row now, but they're going hard at the beginning. So yeah, every show has a different strategy. Some people tell everyone don't donate until one day. All different. For us, we're looking to do a push October 4th. We're also doing a push. I think we're going to be strategic and try for October 10th. That'll be the day where we kind of do the big group donations. Anything that you donate between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Pacific time will count towards our bonus challenge. But obviously anything.
Okay, so 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time is important. Okay.
Those are the competition times.
Okay.
That's when the food bank monitors, and whatever the competition is that day, there will be a winner announced after 5 p.m. But of course, we're just happy to be supporting the food bank no matter what. So at the end of the day, the challenge is just the extra kind of cherry on top. But if you do want to be competitive, I'm competitive. Yeah, join us anytime. Make a donation between 9 and 5 on any day, but specifically, I think October 10th. And then October 11th is the final day of the challenge, or of the Real Thanks Challenge in general. And that's the day the social media tweets are counted. So Jeanette Stevens has posted a Real Thanks tweet.
We'll put the slide up of it so that people can see what it looks like. It's a beautiful wagon in front of the schoolhouse church.
She posted an amazing graphic, and she's so good with design. And I believe at the time of this recording, we have over 100 retweets, but the more the better. I am scared that there's a few big actors on a couple shows who may put out a tweet this week and ask for a bunch of retweets. So I'm really hoping the Hearties, just all you have to do, you don't have to quote tweet, just hit retweet. That's it. That's all you have to do. And if we can win that one, then we'll win the grand prize bonus challenge, which is $10,000. That will be attributed to our pool.
Wow.
So, I know it's a lot, and this is a really complicated kind of competition, but Jeanette Stevens is awesome. She knows everything about this. We've all been on email chains, kind of strategizing and figuring things out. And yeah, we're just really happy to support the food bank. This is one of their major donation drives every year, and we just want to lend a helping hand in the spirit of Hope Valley.
And any size gift is appreciated. So it can be
Anything.
$5, it can be $100, anything you want to give, obviously. And you're really confident that the Vancouver Food Bank really uses their dollars well and gets help out to the community.
Traditionally speaking, food banks are some of the best places you can donate your money, because in general, this is not specific to any one food bank, but generally speaking, they have the most impact when it comes to food, to funds. I believe the Vancouver Food Bank, it's something like 96% goes directly to
Amazing.
food.
That's
Cool.
a huge percentage. That's a
So they
huge percentage.
It's huge. I might be off with those
that's
numbers, but it's
wonderful.
massive. And
Right.
they don't spend a lot of their budget doing splashy advertisements and hiring fancy CEOs or anything. They just put everything to food. And I've learned so much from them over the years. Specifically, food banks can do a lot more with money than they can
Right.
with
They can
physical
really
items.
stretch your dollars.
And I've seen firsthand the pit of physical donations, and so often, so much of it is expired. A lot of it's open,
unhealthy.
unhealthy, just not what they're looking for. So they always kind of stress that while food donations are wonderful, your dollar goes even further.
Indeed.
So I've learned that. I've seen that firsthand. I will be going to the food bank. So I will have some content coming your way where you can actually see
Nice.
the Greater Vancouver Food Bank in action. And they have their clientele, their numbers are through the roof right now. They've never been so busy. And that's not lost on me. I've done a lot of tours there over the years, and each year the numbers are crazier and crazier and crazier with how many people rely on the food bank. So yeah, it's
well, thank you for captaining this. I mean, you have a few things going on, so it's pretty amazing that you continue to make room in your life for this gift. It's really cool. Returning to Dr. Carter, I want to place you in. It's doctor's hours are open, and Molly is ushering in your patient.
yes.
Your patient is season 12. So tell us about examining season 12 and what are the vital signs looking like? Is this a pale? Is it flushed? What is the patient looking like? What is your diagnosis for season 12?
Is, oh gosh, how do I even put this? I want to give you like something fantastic and metaphoric here, but the patient is overfilled. just I don't even know. I'm gonna say something wrong here. I'm gonna give you like a Cavan comment on HFR.
Hilarious.
I will say something really silly. No, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening.
This is a complex patient.
It's a complex patient. That will probably steer you many different directions before you can kind of make a comprehensive determination in terms of their medical situation. But yeah, this is a busy, crazy, wild season. There's a lot happening, and a lot of fun, a lot of lightheartedness, but things also do there are some serious moments as well.
Okay.
A mixed bag.
I guess so. So
comes in for 20 minutes and ends up staying 2 hours because we have a lot to deep dive.
Exactly. You have to, and this may take multiple visits for you to figure out.
Multiple visits, yes.
All right. Well, switching gears, if the Hearties are your patient, because we are a little impatient waiting for season 2, what would you prescribe for us in the waiting time?
Oh, what would I prescribe to the Hearties? Oh, maybe a group rewatch of all the seasons prior.
Love it.
I do a group rewatch. I think that's good for everyone's spirit. I think that this would be a worthy year to go back and rewatch a lot of the storylines, because there, like as I said, there's a lot happening in 12. There's a lot going on, and it's kind of, it would be worth your while to kind of run through the series again, catch up on a few things, and then see how that plays out in 12.
Do you like how our questions are just getting more and complex because
Love it. I've never been asked questions
I
like
know.
this. It's actually quite
I understand because how many shows get into season 12 and we're interviewing you multiple times about the same
It's
show.
true.
So we have to
Gotta
get
keep
more
those
and more
questions
creative.
fresh. Yeah.
I tell you what, Hearties are going to love having a doctor's prescription that they have to rewatch the episodes.
Well,
I
I
love
love
that.
And I love it because I met new Hearties that live 5 minutes from me that I have never known before.
No way.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
we're already
amazing,
talking about,
Joy.
yeah,
Aw.
I
Watching together.
that are
That is
just
so cool.
So your patient knows how to immediately take your medicine. That's beautiful.
yes,
Yes.
I'm a good patient.
I love it.
Well, we're really anticipating season 12, but we're also really looking forward to the coming Christmas movies. And we understand you have a Christmas movie coming. What can you tell us about the film?
Yes. Snowy with a Chance of Christmas. So this past spring, I filmed a Christmas movie. What can I say about it? I play a weather reporter. And which was super fun. I got to go in front of the green screen. I had to learn weather hands. Obviously it's a Christmas movie, so you can probably guess what time of year this weather woman is living through. As the story.
It's a cute title, Snowy with a Chance. It's so cute.
I had gone through a few different titles, and then when we landed on that one, I was like, "Oh, this is hilarious! This is perfect! Like, what better way to describe, a weather woman's Christmas journey?" Yeah, we filmed it. The director is Nicholas Humphreys. I've worked with him 3 times now on rom-coms. We're the best of buddies. He's fantastic. I was not really spoiler, but life spoiler. I was very early pregnant when I filmed this movie.
Oh boy.
Very sick.
Oh.
Behind the scenes, not in
so
the movie.
the green screen takes over your face.
Yes. So it was a challenging movie in that sense because I was definitely not feeling my best behind the scenes, but it's a really cute movie. It stars Giles Panton, who's been he's a familiar face in the Hallmark world, in the rom-com world. And we shot part of it in Big White, British Columbia, which is like a beautiful mountain. We had the whole thing to ourselves to film for 3 days. And so you get a lot of beautiful British Columbia snow, a lot of really pretty landscapes. And it's a little love story about a weather woman who kind of meets her match. And we don't have a release date yet. We don't have all the specifics on timeline, but I will be keeping everyone updated with that. I know, but I don't want to say it in case things change, because sometimes things change. But I'll keep everyone updated on my social media. And it was really cute. It's been a while since I've done a Christmas movie, and they're so fun.
And we don't know what network it's going to land on yet.
Right.
It's not announced. I'd say it. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So we'll be waiting. Be waiting in anticipation to hear where this is going to be, because it sounds so cute.
It was a really fun one, and there are a lot of fun costumes, and it's very Christmassy. It is Christmas to the extreme. So,
and as my fellow Hearties and men know, I am a weather nut. So this is right up my alley. I can't wait.
That's awesome.
Barb's shaking her head.
My weather hands.
Totally. Yes.
Yes.
Weather hands. That's hilarious.
Explaining the winds and the cold fronts. And we actually shot part of this movie at Global Kelowna. So Global is a local news channel. And I actually got to go and I got to stand where the weather stand, and I got to learn about how things work at the news, and it was actually very fun. I've never done anything quite like that.
It sounds like so much fun. Can't wait. Well, Andrea, we are amazed at all you do with this balancing motherhood, filming, and pregnancy. We're cheering you on. All of us Hearties are cheering you on and sending you all the blessings for your safe delivery.
Oh, thank you. That honestly means so much. When I say that I feel supported being pregnant and working in television and having a great network and cast and crew who have my back, I also have to give the biggest shout out to the Hearties. I have received so many baby gifts over the years, blankets,
Oh, wow.
Hearties, sweat, like hand knit things. And
Seriously?
Oh,
it could make me cry because it's just so generous and lovely. And it's just so wonderful when you're, you play a character, people are used to seeing your character a certain way. And when you know things are a bit different, that can be a little scary as an actor. And I just feel so supported and loved. And I've just had nothing but well wishes from the Hearties community over all these years. And it means so much. All the positive comments, I read them all. Just the nicest fandom of all time. And I'm just so grateful.
oh, well, we're sending you lots of blessings.
Thank you.
And thank you, Joy, for coming to HFR and for joining us today. We hope you had fun.
Thank you. It was such an honor and privilege. I really appreciate it.
And Andrea, thank you too for this fantastic campaign, the Real Thanks campaign, and for gracing us with season after season of these beautiful stories. We can't wait to see what you all are stirring up for us in season 12.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you guys for always spreading the word and promoting all of us and championing the show. It means so much.
That's kind of our thing.
Yes, we're here for you. We got your back. Yeah.
And so as we head into the season of giving and giving thanks, we are grateful to the Hearties, to all of you for taking real thanks into your hearts and for staying tuned in this off season as we keep you in the know. We tried to grab a lot of stuff out of Andrea today.
I might have revealed too much. I don't know.
I think you did good.
Pregnancy brain's a little all over the place.
And we'll be talking to more of these amazing storytellers. So we'll see you next time on Art to Hearties. Bye, y'all.
Bye.